The 3 o'clock news, this is David Kermode.
96.2 FM, Trent, 96.5.
Hello, I'm Peter Wagstaff, and I'm going to tell you all about... Hi, I'm Gary Morris. Hello, to tell you about one of...
Top of it, look, I'm Peter Gwynn, and I'd like to tell you... I'm so
Greetings, Space Lads. Chris Baird here, Baird of Britain. Hi. So 301, yeah? And 96.2 VHF in stereo.
Trent.
Great.
Okay. That's the one.
And we think it's fun, yeah?
Yes, enjoyable.
It's fun here,
And nice.
Stimulating stuff.
Yeah, great.
I'll go with that. Right, yeah.
Thanks for ringing.
Lovely. There you go. How do you do it?
Can I have my 2p, please?
Play another record, somebody.
Madonna and a Holiday. It's the 3rd of July 1993 as we look back at the best music from the first 10 years of Trent, and we look back at 18 years of Trent with the voices you remember, and it's been 18 years now, huh? I guess so. You're supposed to say yes, sir. Nothing ever changes. Whenever he's in, the whole place falls to pieces. We'll talk to you in a moment.
Righto.
You've got it. We'll talk to John Peters next. The great records of Trent's past. He is now Lord David Dundas. David Dundas with Jeans On. We're celebrating 18 years. 18 years since you heard this.
Billy Paul, July. I'll go along with that. Good morning, sleepyheads. How are you this morning? Weather today, continuing mainly dry, sunny periods, becoming warm this afternoon. Temperatures nearing 24 degrees centigrade, 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that's nice, that really is.
John Peters, did it seem 18 years ago?
It doesn't really, does it? It seems like 18 years ago.
Take me back 18 years. That morning, it was a Tuesday, wasn't it?
It was a Thursday.
It was a Thursday?
Yes. Tuesday, you probably were here, but no, it was a Thursday, the 3rd of July. And we were sitting here with the other studio opposite, full of IBA chaps, and Jeff Woodward, God bless him, who was our chief engineer then. Hello, Jeff, if you're listening to us. I know he's still in and around Nottingham. Oh. And also the assistant engineers were all in there too. And they kept saying to me, don't forget to push the button so you go on air. I said, yes, okay, Jeff, fine. And a couple of minutes later, John, it was, came on. I said, don't forget to push the button to make sure you're on air. I said, yeah, okay, because you could actually start. Yeah. That's the whole thing.
Was there a lot of anticipation about Trent? Because up to then, I mean, Nottingham had never heard a radio station like Trent.
It was, I think one could safely say, quite a different format. The sound of the station was... the formatted sound of the station was something that I don't think anyone in this area had heard before. And let's be honest and say we were experimenting also, trying to bring radio up to date as it was back in the 70s. And the new concept of local stereo stations, this was something also quite new, which we used to push, of course, because we had, in those days, as we called it, the medium wave backup, which is now, of course, Jam AM, and Trent FM, as it is now, 96.2 and 5. We didn't have 5
Yes,
then,
I know.
so, we had to shout a bit louder for Mansfield. and the concept of it was quite different. And the build-up to it, I think a lot of people remember the sunny weeks. There seemed to be, for some reason, sunny days on the lead-up to the station launch. Throughout the back end of June of 75, we started putting out these hour-long continuous music tapes with just one or two little intermissions to mention the fact that this was an IBA test transmission, and give the frequencies and the actual start date of the station, and pushing also the stereo aspect with the suitable equipment. I think we said you could hear Trent in stereo at 96.2. And from then on, people kept saying, hey, have you heard this new station? There's no jocks on it, no one talking. And funnily enough, a lot of people thought it was going to be like that all the time.
But they still liked it when it came on air. There are many stations nowadays around the country who, when they get to their first birthday, the second birthday, the third birthday, have a celebration of some kind. We're doing much more than that, because even now, even at other radio stations across Great Britain, they all talk about the Trent. The Trent at the beginning, they talk about John Peters. There are managing directors now, program controllers of other radio stations, who still talk about Trent. Trent was and is a great station. Why was Trent so different?
It's a very difficult question. I was listening to Guy Morris a little earlier, and also Steve Merrick. It was great to see him again. And they both hit on it, I think, when they both said there was such a great team spirit. And as Guy was saying, like you hear in football, a team spirit. But it was really just that. Bob Snyder, who is our program controller, used to come up with some good little zany ideas. I used to go off into the studio opposite now, which is another radio station, and knock them all up. Some of the bits you've already played. And Steve, of course, used to come on and do his little singing bits. We always say, oh no, he's singing again. Yeah. But they were great and very entertaining. And I think that was like a window on the station. You could hear each one making little ditties for each other, sometimes taking the mickey and whatever, but we had a little bit of fun where we could do that, and it was a team thing, and I think that the team spirit was so important in those days, and that's why it was so successful.
As many people around Nottingham know, obviously you're now over on GMAM. What in particular, finally, over the 18 years, do you think you miss of Trent?
That, again, is another... I know we've not rehearsed this at all, but I do miss those sunny days of yore, as they say, but it's something I do really miss. It's still very, very close to my heart. Trent, of course, gave me the opportunity to come up to Nottingham to actually buy my first house and start a family. So, I mean, it's a part of me. I'm here, I suppose, as much as it's part of me, I'm part of it.
John, it's a pleasure and an honour to have you back today.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for being part of the 18th birthday, because you've been very much a part of the first 18 years.
Thank you.
18 years of entertainment for Nottingham.
Nottingham. This is Trent.
We're having just a whale of a time, and we'll find out come 4:30 this afternoon who's going to be winning that new Fiat Cinquecento. Somebody's actually going to win it. Somebody is actually there now, and they're not thinking realistically, hey, it's going to be mine. And suddenly we're going to give them some car keys around about 4:30. Stay with us on Trent. You'll hear it live.
Trent Radio.
Captain Sensible, and glad it's all over. We're looking back at 18 years of Trent, and we're not just looking back at what happened 18 years ago. We're just chatting a few moments ago. I mean, Andy Miller, 18 years, the people that were here at Trent were the people that inspired us.
That's right, yes. We were saying how we're getting all nostalgic today. Nostalgic for people who are listening, but also from our point of view, because we were listening to some of the people that have been in today at home on the radio before we ever got into the business ourselves. So, it's like the big people, John Peters, Steve Merrick and so on. And we like talking to them now. It seems very strange.
And it feels an honour now to be here looking back at the early years of Trent. But it's great also. Tell me more about the competition. How many people have been down there? I'm surprised you've got people standing around watching.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, with people with their lips locked on a car, I wouldn't imagine there's an awful lot to see.
Well, there isn't, but they'll just stand waiting. They're waiting for somebody to wave us, somebody to slide off the car, to get cramp. It sounds horrible, doesn't it, really? But they are. And there's this weird sort of fascination with it. And what people will do, they'll watch for 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, go up to Marks and get themselves what they want to buy, come back, and they'll stand and watch again for another half an hour. And they say, oh, one's gone now, look. And they're following it, and they will be there until the end of the day today, when it's finally decided who wins the car. I'm
more interested in these injuries. It sounds horrible.
It is a scene out of Casualty. We've got sprained ankles, we've got stiff legs, sore necks, we've got backs that have been injured, and there's people who have just got so tired and decided, that's it, I'm off. And they've just stood up and said, that's it, I can't do any more.
Come 4:30 this afternoon, somebody's going to win that car with Trent.
Favorites of today and yesterday. Stereo Trent FM. All in love you when they're playing.
1977, when Trent was just 2 years old.
Sorry.
That's okay, Andy. Nothing ever changes here. With Dreams through the day on Trent today, you've got Rick Dees at 5, the new sound for Trent. Richard Murdoch tonight at 7, the Coca-Cola Concert Connection tonight at 9. It's Saturday, the 3rd of July, 1993 from Stereo Trent FM. A day that's going to see 73 around about now. It's not dropping too much tonight. The low tonight, like the coolest tonight, is going to be 61. Tomorrow it's going to be warm and humid in the morning. It might be a little bit cloudy in the afternoon and maybe get a little bit drizzly as well. Tim Disney is in the middle of Exchange Arcade. And Tim, it sounds so busy there.
Yeah, it is actually, Danny. Yeah, it's been so busy during the day, people popping in and then popping back to see how people have been getting on. As we say, 4:30 is the time when we'll have our ultimate winner, but we've lost yet another one. Down to 5 people on the car now. And the person who lost out this time, Jeff Finch, sorry about that. I've done that twice today.
And you get his name wrong as well. He's going to be really upset today.
That's adding insult to injury, isn't it? I know. But, Jeff, you had an awkward position on the car as well, didn't you?
Yes, right on the front.
Right, sort of bending down. You were getting, like, cramp pains and things like that.
Yeah, right from about 9 o'clock.
Have you had any sort of relatives popping down to sort of egg you on with the thing?
No, but I told the kids I'd do my best, so we've hung in.
Well, that's it. I mean, you've done very well. I mean, it's like 3:35 now. It's just a shame just by that hour, that you just missed out. But It was worth taking part.
Yeah, certainly enjoyed it.
That's good. Thanks, Jeff. Commiserations. Well, Danny, it's all going on. People can still pop down, as we say. 4:30 is the time that we'll be giving the car away to one winner. So that's it. We're going to dwindle it down to one, and that's it. We're going to be ruthless about it.
I guess the tension is building. I mean, can you see it on the 5 people left around the car? Can you see that they're getting worried? Can you see that they feel as though there's only 55 minutes away?
It's one very slimy car at the moment, I can assure you. Yes, the tension is starting to mount, and as we say, 4:30, that is the deadline. We'll have one winner. That'll be it.
Tim, we'll hear from you later on at Exchange Arcade. We'll find out who is going to win that car. It's 24 minutes to 4. The Voices of Trent Past. Next. I can never hear that record now without thinking of Steve Merrick. It's 21 minutes to 4. We just had a car, by the way. It's been pushed through the door. Radio Trent, a happy 18th birthday. Where's our invite to the party? It was yesterday. It's late. Thank you to everybody at RGS Car Balloting. Robert, Jane and Paul, who were listening. And thank you for your celebrations and for your wishes for today. We're looking back over 18 years of Trent, and we're looking at the voices and the characters that made Trent special. David Lloyd, who were Rosie and Julie?
They were, I was never quite sure. They were supposed to be two common girls, for want of a better phrase, who were supposed to travel on a fictitious bus route. And they just, I mean, it started off as a little program advert, and people just said, I love that one, play it again. And so they developed into like a series of their own. And people still remember them to this day. I mean, I think it's the only, I don't think it's particularly good, but it's the only thing people remember about me. I had a call 2 weeks ago from a woman who said, I remember you because you had those characters on the bus. They were both me, of course,
now,
as you probably realise.
Yes. You were very heavily involved in Trent for many, many years.
I was, yes.
And you loved Trent from the early start. What was it like the first day you worked at the first program? Don't worry, I'm not playing it. The first program you did, what did it feel like?
The first program I did was absolutely horrendous. It was 3/4 of an hour long. That's how much they trusted me in those days. And I had to follow Chris Ashley's commentary from Amsterdam. It was some obscure football cup final or something. And I had to fill the gap from when it ended until the news time. And it was awful. I forgot my name. It was just absolutely, it was the most awful thing I've ever done. And my whole career, my whole life collapsed in that 3/4 hour.
From there, it was on to the David Lloyd morning program, a program that you very much made.
And the afternoon show.
And the afternoon show as well, and David Lloyd in the afternoon.
Yes.
But very much the morning program.
Yes.
It was very, very, very much about Nottingham.
It was, because I was born here, so, I mean, you get to know the area. And the funny thing about it is how much Nottingham's changed since I was first here. I mean, I was on Trent from 1980, and the whole city has changed so much. I mean, there was not a burger bar in Nottingham in 1980 before we got to, what was it called, Mavericks or something. And we just go to the Maid Marian Cafe. That was the only place where you could get sort of convenience food. And I think that's why the morning show revolved around Nottingham, because it was my home.
We've all been talking to him. I mean, as you know, Steve's been in, John's been in. And we've been looking back at why it is that Trent was so special and still is so special compared to all the other stations.
It's difficult to say. It's got that sort of magic, hasn't it? It always has and I suspect it always will have. There's something about the radio station that makes it very much a part of people's lives. I mean, people do rely on it, and they listen to it so diligently and so loyally. I'll never forget, actually, I used to open a lot of fetes and galas and things like that, and I think it was in Colic. Went round to this woman's fete in a church hall. I didn't drive in those days. I had to phone for taxis for every place I went to. And I used to do millions of these. And I said, I've got to phone for a taxi. She said, well, we'll phone from my house because it's next door. So I went next door to phone. And she stood there with her arms together, clasped as though she was praying. She said, I can't believe it, David Lloyd's in my house. And I just laughed. And then she said, do you want a cup of tea? And I made a cup of tea. And she said, I can't believe it, David Lloyd's having a cup of tea in my lounge. and then I thought, well, I'll be helpful because I was standing by the sink. I started to wash the cup. And that was just to blow her out. I mean, she couldn't believe that this superstar of the local radio station was washing her. And it was all very well till the handle came off in my hand. This is absolutely true, and she'll remember it.
Now that you're away from Trent finally, I mean, what is it? Is there anything of Trent that you miss? You're very successful where you are now, but what is it about Trent? Is there anything that you miss?
I miss...
Or are you glad to be away?
I miss Steve Merrick in a weird sort of way, and people like him. Trent's always been an original sort of station, and I think I miss that. I suppose I miss broadcasting to my hometown, because you always know it the best, don't you?
It's always sounded like you've been...
Do you or not?
I do. Well, I'm not going to say for that. It's been an honour to have you here.
It's an honour to be back, and here's to the future of Trent 96.2 FM.
The sounds of this town, spread around, sweet music. Trent is the place, 301 is the place. You've got sounds like you want to hear, sounds like you want to hear, sounds like you want to hear, sounds like you want to hear.
The Dooley Brothers, and what a fool believes, celebrating 18 years of Nottingham's finest on 96.2 and 5. This is Trent.
Anytime you'd like to get next to me.
It's great to look back over 18 years, but it's great to look ahead. Just about an hour as well. Rick Dees, 5 till 7. So good to have Rick Dees as part of Trent. Rick Dees with a weekly Top 40 countdown this afternoon between 5 and 7. I'm Danny Cox, here on the 3rd of July 1993. Exactly 18 years to the day since Trent first began. We're celebrating that in many ways. One of the ways is by giving away a Fiat Cinquecento. Tim Disney is down in Exchange Arcade. Tim, there are still people with lips locked around the car, yeah?
That's right, and only 39 minutes to go as well before we've announced our winner tonight, so people can still pop down and get here in time to see our winner. We have 5 people with their lips sealed to the car at the moment. Just very briefly to remind you who they are. There's Deborah Lupton, John Armstrong, also David Lunson, Philip Sanders and Sue Jones. These people, well, one of them will take away the car at the end of today, so you can still get down here and see what's going on very, very quickly, though.
Now, remind me how it's going. Maybe what happens if later on this afternoon, all of the lips, all 5 lips, are still locked on the car? Who does the car go to?
Well, in that case, we're prepared. We have a tiebreaker question at the very end of it, and if we still have more than one person, then we'll have another tiebreaker question until we dwindle it down to one person, so we've got that sorted.
We'll give away the car later on this afternoon. Tim will tell you who's won it. You'll hear it live on Trent. A classic single. Fits so well on this day. P. Wingfield and 18 with a bullet. Must say good afternoon. Just had a phone call from Steve, who's at Radio Witham, the hospital radio station in Grantham. And apparently while they're doing their own programs there, they're still listening to us. Steve, thank you for your wishes for us for today. I know what kind of choice you've got over there. You've made the right decision.
18 years of entertainment for Nottingham.
Nottingham.
This is Trent.
It was 1985 that Tears for Fears had Everybody Wants to Rule the World. On 96.2 and 96.5, this is Trent, always playing a bigger music mix.
The 4 o'clock news, this is David Kermode.